Everyone's talking about it. I've got one to have a look at. The P-47 from MINIART is right here on Gary's Stuff. Hi there, I'm Gary. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today, I'm looking inside the box of the P-47 Thunderbolt in 1/48 scale from MINIART. This kit was sent to me by channel viewer Dane Stewart. Dane, thank you so very much indeed. Now, all the bits of this are in chapters, so you can hop backwards and forwards to your favourite bits as much as you like, and of course means you can rewind it. If you like the show, and I hope you do, then you might consider supporting the channel. The best way to do that, and for free, is to make sure you subscribe. If you also hit that bell, you'll be notified of all my future content as it is available, including the build video for this very kit. And of course, anything you see on my channel you like, please remember, give it the old Imperial thumbs up on the button below, because every like counts. And if you'd like to make a more concrete contribution, you can do so by becoming a channel member or by using any of my online partner programs, details of which are in the information box below. Okay, let's make a start and have a look at this P-47 Thunderbolt in 1/48 scale from MINIART. So here's a very fine looking box of the P-47 from MINIART. This is a very nice piece of artwork showing flying in its full pomp by Vladimir Booth. The exact mark, of course, is a P-4725 IRE. It says here this is the basic kit, so this doesn't include all sorts of things like photo etch and resin parts and whatever. And the product code is 48009. This side has the usual range of descriptions in many languages. Most importantly, it says this is for modelers of over 14 years or over. That's because of the small parts included. The QR code here links to the MINIART website, which is a fascinating website because they have so much they produce. On the other long side, perhaps of more interest to people, are the two schemes that are included here. The first is from an aircraft of 82nd Fighter Squadron from the 78th Group, based at Duxford in 1944 in the summer. And the other is Hairless Joe, that's the person here, 62nd Fighter Squadron, 56th Group, August 1944, Colonel David Schilling. And here, interestingly, the cartograph decals are all laid out as well, what decals you get, which is kind of unusual to include. Anyway, let's have a look and see what we get inside the box. It's a top opening box, as should be for this sort of size of kit, really. Very deep box. A little deeper maybe than the actual contents warrant, but with other versions of the kit perhaps you get more things in them. There's one cellophane bag with lots of frames and a separate bag for the clear parts. And there's another cellophane bag here with the instruction leaflet and the two decal sheets. So let's have a look at all these bits and pieces in a bit more detail. Frame A here, as you can see, holds the two wings, the undercarriage, weapons pylons here, parts of the engine covers, and the firewall for the engine. Frame B has all sorts of bits and pieces for the cockpit, for the engine cooling fans, or radiator fans, rudder parts, elevators, tailplane, main gear doors, flaps, bits and pieces like that. The numbering of frames gets a bit strange now, as it often does with MINIART, presumably because there's going to be lots of variations. Okay, so C is this bit here, which is this big tank. CA are these parts, which I believe are smoke dispensers for smoke screens. CB are bombs, 500-pound and 250-pound bombs. CD are more parts of the undercarriage, the wheels. These are bomb supports here for the racks and wheels. And CF here, again, these are the very big fuel tanks, and these are the famous paper fuel tanks. Now there are two copies of these, obviously, so you do get a complete wheel on each side, and you do get more than one fuel tank for each side as well. There is also a CE, with the two of them in fact, which contain these rocket launchers. Frame D contains some more wheels. The difference is these are two different types of tread. There's the sort of I don't know what you call that kind of tread. That's the cross-hatched tread, and that's a straight tread for the wheels. Notice these wheels, incidentally, are not weighted. The wheels on the C frame were weighted, which is a big difference. Various internal parts here, the gun barrels for the wings. I suspect these are the tail wheel components and tail wheel doors, and there's the tail wheel itself as well. Then we have DA, which is, as you can see, most of the interior of the cockpit, the instrument panel, the control column, and the floor, one of the sides and the rear of the control column, rear of the controls, and the rudder bars by the looks of things. Rear of the cockpit, I meant to say. There's also a frame called DC, which I'm not sure what these are. These are panels for the underside of the aircraft. I couldn't tell you what they're for though. Then there's the frame F, which would have been manufactured like so, but then they split it for ease of packing. These, of course, are the two halves of the fuselage. This is frame GA, and it is obviously the four-bladed propeller assembly. Then finally we have frame GC. As you can see, this is the engine. There is also a frame of transparent parts. This is GB. It's listed as, so we have the main hood, the windscreen, the gun sight, the wingtip light covers, and a downward pointing lamp cover, maybe an identification lamp cover. Of course, what everyone's really talking about is the detailing on these parts and their accuracy. And you can see here they've spent a lot of time checking out rivet positions and counting them, no doubt. The moulding looks absolutely exquisite. So sharp, so clean, so much detail and attention to detail. Absolutely lovely. It's a pleasure to see something like this. The detailing on that flap mechanism there. Absolutely lovely. Actually, kind of wonder how they did that. That must no, you could do that. Yes, you can do that on a simple. I don't think that's a slide mold part. Now, I think the issues one might face here are these are so well molded that there's tiny bits like here and here you might assume were bits of flash and needed to be sent. No, these are actual parts that need to be, and that little step there in the line of the fin, that all needs to be kept because that's real. It's a tiny little thing. It'd be so easy just to sand that over accidentally. So a lot of care is going to be needed assembling these. All of the feeds into this part, of course, are undercut, so the feed goes into the joint surface, not the top of the model. The ejector pin locations seem okay. I will have to see how we get on with them. I think this is the only one I'm actually worried about in the cockpit area. Put the other way up. In fact, no, sorry, these two are the only ones I'm worried about. But you know, if I have to knock those down, that's fine. You can see here the positioning of the tub, I'm assuming, for the pilot. So that's the only one that maybe might be affected, and it's possible that might be in the way. But until I actually build the thing, I don't know. On the wings, again, the level of detailing is extremely high. I mean, the only other kit I've seen recently with this sort of level of detailing was the Armour Hobby 148th Hurricane, which was an absolute delight to build, let me tell you. And I didn't have to do any panel lining or anything. It just survived the paint job and looked amazing without me doing anything to it. These look like they could do the same. And there's the bottom half of the wing. You notice the bottom half of the wing, actually, the panel lines are more pronounced than on the top, and I can't believe that's by accident. I can't believe that's a... See the way they don't seem as dark and as wide here as on the bottom. They seem like wider and deeper. I don't know if that's a thing on P-47s. I don't know the Thunderbolt that well, but I could tell you. Anyway, I'm sure we'll find out. I'm sure someone will tell me. I mean, the detail it's just exquisite on these. Here's the instrument panel. Fairly well detailed. I'm sure they've got decals that sit into all these things, and there's tiny little switches. Maybe worth sort of dry brushing that first and sealing it in, then putting the decals in for the faces. I'm not sure how we're going to go about that really. But the instrument panel, very highly detailed. The interior, the floor looks amazing. All this pipe work reproduced. And the rear bulkhead of the cockpit area. And then look at this side panel. Remember, this is injection molded in one piece. Look at the detail in there, and look at the relief in there. Look at the way it all stands out, but without being really stupid. That's really nice. Remember, this is the basic kit. So this is the main decal sheet. There are two decal sheets in this kit. This is the main one with all the national markings, aircraft markings, serial codes, and some of the nose art and stuff like that. And also down here, the cockpit decals as well. Then on this second sheet are all the stencils for the P-47D, and there are quite a lot of them. We'll start up with a closer look at the cockpit decals here. 0.5mm pencil as usual, because these things like map case and things are very nice. This one I think is, if you want to does not paint it, you can put this on. If you're going to put this on, there's going to be a lot of leveling down, there's going to be a lot of settling to do on the kit, and if you want to paint it yourself, there are decals here where you can just put the decals on top, which is possibly what I'm going to try and do. Paint the most of the thing myself, and then just to bring out some of the colours, and then put in the actual faces of the instruments later on. As usual, very, very, very well printed. These are cartograph, of course. Having a look here, the markings for propellers, kill markings, names of the crew, and the logo for, is it Hairless George or whatever his name was? Ironic kind of name, I presume. The colours are lovely. Colours are very rich. That's I don't know if it will come out on the video, but this is a proper USAF sort of golden yellow it comes out as. Very nice, and nice to be printed so sharp, because as I've mentioned many times before, yellow is a difficult colour to print. You can see a lot of the decals here have cutouts for the gun ports. I'm assuming these are separate because on some versions of the kit, this is the basic kit, so I don't know why you'd have the doors open, but I suspect there might be other versions where you can have the, well, there are other versions where you can have the doors open. It's got the weapons bay details, so maybe the weapons bay doors have their own decals as well. But a lot from here you can see the ejector holes for the armament are there. And likewise, the decals for the sides have cutouts for where they go over the air exhaust on the side of the fuselage. There's a big vent, and these are separate. In fact, no, these are the second parts of these ones here. Fit alongside into here, so you don't have to do any of the cutting yourself. Looking now at the really small things, these are the stencils, and they're beautifully printed again. What's interesting, they're split into things like top view decals are all clustered together. Okay, bottom view decals, things that are on the bottom of the aircraft. Then things you see on the left, things you see on the right, and then bits like the decals on the pylons, decals on fuel tanks, and decals on the weapons or bombs specifically. All of these are separately laid out, so that's really cool that you don't, you know that if you're not going to put bombs on, you don't need to worry about any of the ones at the bottom there, and you can keep track of where they all are. I mean, how much time have you spent with a decal sheet trying to find out where number 50 is? But at least here you have a sporting chance because it says it's on the left-hand side. So that's a really nice touch. I really like that. That's a very, very good idea. But you can see again with this 0.5mm pencil lead, some of these things are like 0.2, 0.3, and you can pretty much read them. Absolutely astonishingly sharp. Then we come on to the instruction leaflet, and you know what? They make very, very attractive instructions, don't they? Beautiful reproduction, one of the box arts here. Oh, it's all just so nicely designed and nicely laid out. Sorry, and this reminder is the basic kit here. All nice and glossy on the outside at least. Let's go on the inside here. First thing we have are all of the frame markings here, or what goes where. I like all the frames have the numbers quite clearly on there as well. Quick, what all of the icons mean up here in several languages, which is helpful. And again, I do like the inclusion of the decal sheet as part of the frame layout. Then inside the actual instructions, they seem crowded at first glance, but I think they're going to be okay. I don't know whether it would be better to actually have them as separate frames rather than do that, then do that, then do that. I don't know. I think the way Airfix do it in separate frames is clearer, but it's not impossible to follow. I mean, it's quite obvious what you need to do in many ways. I like the way that the straps are included in the parts, and then there's another part to go across there to have the straps done up, which of course it should be when you're sitting on the ground and it's parked up, just so they don't get in the way of the mechanics when they're doing work on the inside, of course. The instructions for the interior, again, it's all quite straightforward. Color bits are relatively easy. Yeah, everything looks quite straightforward in a lot of ways. Tail wheel is done early. I'm guessing that's going to go into the kit early doors, which is a bit of an annoyance when they do that, but there we go. There is a lot of detail in here, so there are some. Oh, that's going to annoy me as well that the aerial has to go in early, because I'm ham-fisted and I will break it. I will, not intentionally, but I just know I will. Engine looks fairly straightforward. Lovely detailing again with these. I think it's a lubricant filler cap for the gearing there. All sorts of complexities and really nice looking. Attention to detail is superb. There's a couple of bits here where if you're going to use the rocket launcher tubes, you need to drill out some holes here. If you're going to use pylons for bombs or fuel, you need to drill out holes there, which is a nice touch. You've got the flaps on the aircraft, which are excellent. Glad to see that. Interesting here that you have different styles of tyre, but also the underload means the flat spotted ones here. And also the legs are slightly different if they're loaded or not loaded. So essentially what you can have is an aircraft flying that's just taken off or is on approach to land. So it'll have the wheels down, however it will have the legs not loaded. You can see the this scissor element here is open, so the leg's not compressed. However, if you're on the ground, you can have it under load and compressed, and of course then with the flat spotted tyres. I mean, that again, attention to detail. And there's the weapons that are available to the aircraft and a quick idea of where the weapons can go. The markings of the common markings, the stencils, again, because it's got left and right side, top and bottom views and pylons, you can relatively easily track down where the relevant decals are for your build. You know, saying where's decal 50? It was on the left hand side, so here's decal 50 and it goes there. Very nice, very straightforward. What I also like is that the decals themselves are printed in red, even though they're actually black. Just because this is a monochrome background, it makes it so much easier to see where the decals should go when you put them on. Nice little touch. And then in glorious full colour, the scheme options. So here, Colonel David Shilling with his stripy. There's not the other Thunderbolt I built had a very similar sort of colour scheme to this as well. So this is for Hellish Joe, 62nd Fighter Squadron, 56th Fighter Group on August 1944. The D-Day markings have come down to these basic just stripes underneath here, the identification markings. Not thought necessary to have any others at that point. So here we are. Earlier on, I mentioned the having the extra bit for the decal behind the guns. It's for whether you have a pylon or not in that position. If you have a pylon, then this one butts up against a pylon, that one butts up against a pylon, everything's fine. Otherwise, there is one that's just complete. That makes so much sense. So much sense. And the other option, which is the one I'll probably go for, is the 82nd Fighter Squadron, 78th Fighter Group at Duxford in summer 1944. Again, the more minimal invasion markings here, but they do have the invasion stripes on the underside of the wings. Olive drab top and checkerboard over the nose, which is going to be fun and challenging, so that's why I'm going to do that. And I've already done one with that sort of colour, basic colour scheme anyway, so I like Thunderbolts in this sort of traditional 8th Air Force look to it, if you like. And also I think it'd be easier to get the detailing in the wings and the aircraft. And then at the back are the weapons, all different size bombs, drop tank options, and smoke grenades, smoke generators. And on the back is where you get the colour chart. Now they give you the colours you're going to use in Vallejo, Mr. Colour, AK, Mission Models, MiG by Ammo, and Tamiya. And interestingly, all of them do all the colours, which is fantastic. Normally you're scrubbling around for at least one of them, thinking, "Oh my God, what can I do for this medium green?" Well, they're all there. What can I do for that brown? They're all there. Excellent. All of the Tamiya ones are XF, so they're flat colours, which I really like using. Of course, there's the ammo ones. There's I don't know if these translates to the new Atom range, whether they've kept the same codes for the Atom range or whether they've got a different numbering system. I would hope it's say, I don't know, the dark olive drab in the original is 02370. I'd hope that would now be like 5237 or something like that. You know, you get what I mean. But we can find out about that later on. So yeah, very comprehensive color chart with lots of color references. No matter what your favorite paint is, I'm sure you can find something that matches one of those. There we have it. I must say, I think the surface detailing alone is absolutely second to none. If it goes together well, then this is going to be an incredible kit to paint and to detail. It looks absolutely stunning. If you'd like to find out whether it does, there will be a build video on the channel before too long. Best way to know when that is to make sure you subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. But if you also hit that bell, you'll be notified of all my future content as it's published. And of course, anything you see on my channel you like, please do give it the old imperial thumbs up on that like button below, because every like counts. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Take very good care. I will see you soon. Goodbye.